Alright, these problems look similar, okay, and they are, in a sense, but you're adding a little bit of extra to it. If you look at it, it doesn't just say find FG, F times G. It's F of G, I'm sorry, not F of, it's FG of 3. So what we're doing, this is multiplication. FG means we're going to multiply, but instead of just keeping things in terms of X, we're going to take a 3 and put it into the functions. You could do this two ways. You could take this function and multiply them together just the way they are right now. And then after you get that answer, then you can throw a 3 into that. I think most people would find that a little bit more confusing. So let's do this. Let's just put the 3 in for each of the functions, get an answer for both of them, and multiply those two numbers together. So again, these are a little bit hard to read. Let me just, oops. Alright, I was getting so good to remember those pen strokes and I forgot that time. Here we go. It's let's put the 3 in for both of these. This is f of x equals x minus 6. Alright, so let's put a 3 in for this. So basically what we're doing is we're doing f of 3. Just put a 3 in for the x. It's 3 minus 6, which is negative 3. We're going to hang on to that for just a second. Let's come up to this and put a 3 in for this one. Alright, and this problem right here, let me see my paper because it's hard for me to read it as well. So this is g of x equals negative 5x squared plus 11x plus 3. All we're doing is doing g of 3. We're just putting a 3 into the g function. We put it into the f, now we're putting it into the g. So it's negative 5 times, now wherever there's an x, that's where you're going to put the 3. And you do everything that you're doing to the x, you're doing to the 3. So we square that 3. Plus 11 times what? 3. And then plus that 3 on the end. Now we just have to know order of operations, make sure we do this correctly. 3 squared is 9, 9 times negative 5 is negative 45, plus 33 plus 3. You can do this any way that you want. Negative 45 plus 33 is what? Negative 12. Alright, plus 3 is negative 9. Alright, remember, we're going to hold on to these. Now, what are we doing to this? It's not like we have two answers. What does it say to do? We're multiplying those two together. So all we do is take negative 3, that's from the f function, and we take negative 9, that's from the g function. We multiply those together, and then there's your answer, just like that. The next one's very similar. Now I can't see that at all, so that's actually a minus right there. I don't know if I made that any better or worse. Looks like an equal sign, but it's f minus g of negative 3. All right, so let's see what we're going to do. We're going to subtract them and then put them in here. Now you could just subtract them the way they are if you'd like, or you could just put a negative 3 in for both of those, get an answer, subtract those. Since we did it this way on 17, let's do it the same way here. So let's go f of x is negative 3x squared minus 2, and let's put in, watch, we're not just putting in a 3 this time, we're putting in a negative 3, or I could have circled that one. So we're doing f of negative 3. So be careful with your minus signs here. We got negative 3 times. Put that thing, since it's being squared, since the x is being squared, put it in parentheses. So that, see, I put negative 3 from here in for this x. Really doesn't have anything to do with this being negative 3. This could have been anything. This still would be negative 3, and what are you doing? You're squaring it, and then you go minus 2. So let's finish this off. Don't go negative 3 times negative 3. Alright, that's not what we're doing. We do exponents first. It's negative 3 squared. Negative 3 squared is positive 9. 9 times negative 3 is negative 27. You could probably do that much in your head. If you went negative 3 times negative 3, you would have gotten a 9 squared is 81. Completely different answer. You have to do it this way. Order of operations, minus 2. So we go negative 29. We're going to hang on to that for just a second. I'm not going to circle it or anything. I'm just going to leave it there. Now let's do the g of x. G of x was 3x minus 7. Alright, so let's put those in there. We're going to do g of negative 3. So it's 3 times x, which is negative 3, minus 7. That's negative 9. It's a negative minus 7. Okay, and that is negative 16. So now we've got negative 29. Now you got to be careful. What are you doing with these? You're subtracting. It's negative 3 minus a negative 16. Minus a negative is plus. Negative 29 plus 16 is negative 13. And you're done. Alright, this kind of looks like the same notation, but you got this O in here. It looks like fog, F-O-G. Well, it's actually, that symbol means composite, and what that means is this. And again, we've talked about this before. F of G of x. So it's basically a function in a function. That's what this thing means right there. F composite g of x. So let's see what we're going to do. We're going to do the g function first. We're going to take the g function and put it into the f function. We're going to take this, which is 3x minus 1, and we're going to put that into the x in the f function. Well, what's the f function? Let's write it down. F of x is 5x plus 8. So what we're going to do is take that g function, let's write it right here, g of x, make sure I write it down right because that scan didn't come out too great. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put this, the g function, into the f function. So wherever there is an x in the f function, I'm going to put this whole thing right there in for that x. So let's rewrite the f function. So now we're doing f of g of x. So it's going to be 5 times the x. What are we doing? We're putting the g function into the f function, or into the x. So what is the g function? It's 3x minus 1. And then we just stick the plus 8 on the end. So what did we do? We took the f function, we put the g function, we stuck it into it. So wherever there was an x, we put in whatever the g function was, 3x minus 1. And now we just simplify this thing is all it is. You're not solving for x. All you're doing is simplifying it and trying to find out what the composite of those two functions are. So this is 15x minus 5 plus 8. 15x plus 3, and that's all they want. Okay, so you're not going to write x equals anything. You're not solving for x here. All you're doing is just trying to take one function and put it in to the other function. If you look at this one, this just goes the other way around. This one is g of f of x, so it's going to be like this. It's going to be g of f of x. So this time you're taking the f function and putting it into the g function, a reversal of what we did over here. So really what we're doing, we're taking this f function, this thing right there, and you're putting that into the g function. Looks like it's pointing at the 6. It should be pointing at the x. All right. So let's write them out. It's kind of hard to see again on my terrible scan. Let me look at my paper and make sure I write down the right things. You can see the numbers. It's the plus and minuses that are hard to see. So it's 4x squared plus 6x plus 5. Okay, that looks pretty good. Oops. It's plus 5. And then the g function, g of x, is just 6x minus 6. I guess that looks okay up there. I just wanted to make sure that we saw it correctly. Now what are we doing? We're taking the f function and putting it into the g function. So we're taking all this mess right here and we're putting it into the x in the g function. So we're just putting it right there. So this is what we're writing. We're writing 6x minus 6, but instead of 6x, what are we putting in for the x? All this junk right here. So we're going to put 4x squared plus 6x plus 5. See, all we did is a substitution is basically all it is. I substituted whatever the f function was in for the x in the g function. Let's just finish off the rest of the g function. There's my 6x, and then we just put a minus 6 on the end. Now it's just a matter of simplifying this. So let's go through that. That's 24x squared, just distributive property, plus, what's that, 6 times 6x, which is 36x, plus 6 times 5, which is 30. And then you put a minus 6 on the end. Add like terms, there's no x squared, so you just keep it 24x squared. There's no other x's, you just keep it 36x, and you just add those together. 30 minus 6 is 24, positive. So again, you're not solving for x. You're not getting like a one-number answer. All you're doing is finding the composite of those two functions. All right, well, that's it. That's Chapter 3. That's the second part of the Chapter 3. Remember, we split it up into 2 parts. All right, good luck with that. And you'll see not every single one of these problems on the final exam, but you'll see quite a few of these.